We're live from our studios here in Kokomlemle on digital address GA0992539. This is your home of fearless, credible and independent journalism. Our lead stories this hour. 2 men arrested in connection with the kidnapping and killing of 4 girls in Takoradi, convicted and sentenced to death. We are live in Takoradi as we hear from family members, some of whom are insisting this is not enough. In governing, NPP reject calls by former President Mahama for electoral reform, saying he failed to establish wrongdoing on the part of the EC during the petition. But in the absence of a clear consequential order from the court in its judgment, what form and shape should a reform take? Should there be one? We hear from one of the proponents of reforms in the EC's electoral processes. And from COVID-19 to reactions to the election petition, we go across the regions today to hear from our correspondents. The Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities Dignilu, affordable, safe sanitation. Join us on DSTV 421, GoTV 144. Remember, we're streaming live on YouTube and our other social media handles. My name is Gifty Ando Apia. This is The Pulse. Please be my guest. Now, it's a trial that lasted more than 2 years, a period that has been agonizing for friends and families of the 4 Takoradi girls who went missing in 2018. More agonizing was the period when no one knew about the whereabouts of the girls and hoped that they would one day be brought back. Their disappearance sparked nationwide protests and campaigns, which were hashtagged Bring Back Our Tardy Girls. For the parent is sadness, well, mine is not, it is anger. And I expect you to be angry. The kind of anger that is required for state agencies to act swiftly. In the meantime, we're still looking for the girls. See something, say something.
Imagine waking up one morning with a dream, with a hope, with an ambition. Maybe you just want to live your life. And then sometime during the day, somebody just kidnaps you and all these dreams are extinguished. This is what has happened to 3 young girls in the secondary Takoradi metropolis. Their families are agonizing, their communities are distraught, and the nation is seriously looking for them. But they may be alive. We need your help. If you see something, say something.
It's very disheartening, and it shouldn't happen. And so I'm asking that the authorities involved should make every effort to get our girls back.
Our thoughts and prayers at this moment are with the families of the victims, and we also call on the relevant state agencies to expedite action, double the effort to ensure the safe return of these girls.
Imagine the agony of losing a sister or a dear one. These are 3 mothers looking for 3 daughters. Where is the hope? Where is the love? Where is the ray of sunshine? We need to find our girls.
Bring back our tardy 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 girls.
So we saw that say I mean we do so we would not say I mean we so no for me be my no
Bring back our tardy girls.
Well, that was the campaign back then when the thought was that the girls were alive. Well, as we're told by the police, investigations shows they are not alive. Today, the Secondary High Court, hearing the case, delivered its verdict. Death sentence for the two men who were arrested in connection with the crime. Sam Uditek Wells and John Orji are expected to be killed for kidnapping and subsequently killing the four innocent girls in Takoradi in the western region of Ghana. Presiding judge at the Secondary High Court 1, Justice Richard J. Frimpong, found the two men guilty on 8 counts of conspiracy to kidnap and conspiracy to murder. They have 30 days to appeal. We'll take you live to Takoradi shortly for details of the court's judgment and reactions that have followed in right now. But before we get to Nathalia Kwanzaa, who will give us the details of what went on in court today, take a look at a recap of events so far.
Between July and December 2018, 4 Takoradi girls went missing. Ruth Abeka, 19, Priscilla Blessing Bentum, 21, Ruth Love Kwasin, 18, and Priscilla Mantebia Crunchy, 15, were captured at Kansarodo, Buntumejebu, and in Crawford Junction, all in Secondary Takoradi in the western region. On January 4, 2019, after months of fruitless checks, relatives, friends, and some residents went on demonstration demanding justice.
We want our sister back. That's all. Because they can't tell us that the kidnapper was jailed in police custody and he was able to escape. Why? Why? So we want answers. They have to explain to us why the kidnapper was able to escape from that cell.
But we are told he has been arrested.
That one we don't know. So where are our girls? He has been arrested. Where are our girls? We can't find them. We want our girls. That's why we are. Whether he has been arrested or whatever. When they arrested him first.
We don't know whether our girls, they are alive or they are not alive. We have invited Regional Police Commander to our end. We have invited Minister for Gender, the Deputy Minister, all that they are telling us that we should have exercise patience because the girls are there. If the girls are there, we want to see them. We really want to see them.
Yes, yes.
We are 100% convinced that if this incident happened to one of the minister or happened to any dignitary in our country by now, I am convinced that we will see them or we will find the minister's daughters and the minister's children alive. So we, the citizens, we are also saying that the dignitary is supposed to serve us because we elected them to that level. Yes. We are dedicating this press conference to the president of Ghana, which is Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Here is the very particular place, Diabene, that he used this platform to have his last campaign.
Yes. Yes.
So therefore, we are calling Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to come to our aid.
Have arrived, and as you can see, members of the community are hooting at the police who are driving past in a white pickup. The police simply driving through the community, and you can see that members of the community are hooting at them, screaming, shouting, jeering, as the police pickup makes its way across the town.
Please, to assist me. Suppose they did what I reported to them, this trade will have not happened.
Yes.
Would never. Ruth Abeka, she was kidnapped 29th July 2018. On the following day that I reported the case to police, nothing was done until the boys were at school before they called us to deal with these very cases. Let's take for instance media. When you go to laboratory and they examine you, they give you a sheet, the analysis that they have done, they give it to you. And that very sheet will be presented to your doctor to explain. So you want the sheet. You want the sheet of the analysis.
This led the Western Regional Police Commander, DCOP Vincent Redeemer Deju, to hold the first official press conference, giving information about how the kidnappings occurred. The story caught national attention. Residents of Takoradi began a series of street protests to draw more attention to the saga and to put pressure on the police. The then CID boss, DCOP Mamiya Tiwa Adedankwa, visited the families on January 26 with words of hope and safety of their children. On 2nd April 2019, CID boss Mamiya Tiwa Adedankwa, in a press conference, assured families they knew where the girls were.
Together with the BNI, we've worked very well, and currently we know where the girls are. I am unable to give the details because we don't want to compromise their safety. We are working hard together with other stakeholders so that these girls are brought back home safely. The assurance to the family is that they should keep on keeping on. The ladies, we know where they are and they are safe. So very soon, they will be brought back home and they will go back to their family.
However, that was never to happen. Parents accused her of deceiving them. The police finally discovered their bones in a septic tank in the house of the lead suspect, Sam Udotek Wales. DNA tests later revealed there were the remains of the girls, confirming they weren't alive.
A few minutes ago, officers of the Ghana Police Service informed 4 families in Takoradi in the Western region of Ghana that DNA tests conducted on some human remains discovered in the course of police investigations into the disappearance of 4 missing girls are turned positive as the remains of the girls. The Ghana Police Service has, with regret, therefore informed the families that the remains are those of Ruth Abeka, Priscilla Blessing Bintum, Ruth Love Kwesen, and Priscilla Cranche. Investigations now established that the girls were victims of a serial kidnapping and murdering syndicate that operated in the Takoradi area. While for various reasons we were unsuccessful in obtaining and acting on accurate, actionable intelligence in good time to enable us to rescue the girls, we believe that the arrest of the culprits has effectively thwarted the ability of this syndicate to have continued with further kidnappings and murders.
IGP James Opombuenu indicated that Samuel Wales and John Orji confirmed kidnapping the girls after years of court proceedings. The Secondary High Court is set to give its judgment.
Well, that judgment has been given, and Ina Thalia Kwanza, who sat through the proceedings in court, is joining me all the way from the Western region. Hello, Ina. Ina?
Hello, Gifty.
Right. So, Ina, tell us what happened in court today.
Yes, Gifty. So the court proceedings started at exactly 9 a.m. Around 8:57, the 2 suspects, Samuel Udotek Wills and John Uji, drove in by the prison service and handful of police personnel. I could count about 20 of them over there. So at exactly 9 o'clock, the proceedings started. The judge sitting on this case read the facts of the case to the 7-member jury made up of a lady and 6 gentlemen. After reading the facts of the issue, we went on break, and I had opportunity to speak to some of the family members. For 2 of them, they had said that whatever happened, they still do not believe in whatever would come out of it. But for the father of Priscilla Mantibia Cranche, he said that after sitting through the proceedings from 2019 till today, he believed that there's a lot of work has gone into this. Before, they didn't really know what the police and officials were doing. So when we went back after the break, that was when the 7-member jury.
Ina, let me just jump in there and bring in that soundbite from the family members you spoke to, and then we come back to you and you tell us what happened after the break. Well, Ina has been speaking to some of the parents or some of the family members. Take a listen.
Expectation is so simple that from day one, you don't want to change our mind. That what the case that they are discussing and going there with this 2 hours length of this, we the parents don't accept that our children are there. We the parents ask, you have denied flatly that our children are there and it's with the police, IGP and its commanders. Our children are with them because as far as they have refused to bring in Tina to testify, to tell us where he saw our children, the encouragement he gave it to us that he should exercise patience, our children is in good hands. From that very period, that day came to announce that our children has been murdered. For that matter, you will not accept it.
So looking at the evidence being read in court and all that, don't you think the police have enough evidence? What basis do you say that? So at the end of today's court hearing, you still hold on that your...
I expect that these 2 guys will be convicted and sentenced so that they can be eliminated from society, so that such heinous crimes will no more continue to happen. This is my expectation, but I know the court tries on law, so whatever the verdict will be, based upon the law, I have to accept it as it is. Per the police report and the evidences so far given to the court, I have to accept it, because if you ask me about the whereabouts of my daughter, I don't know. And I've not, since he left me on that 21st day, I've never get any gist of living somewhere. So I have to accept per the police report.
So those were some of the family members that Ina spoke to. Ina, so this was when you went on the break, but then you subsequently returned into the court. Take us through what happened from there.
Sure, Gipsy. So when we went back to court, the 7-member jury were asked to give their verdict. And according to all 7, they found both accused guilty of all 8 committals being taken against them. So that is conspiracy to kidnap and conspiracy to murder. All of them were found guilty. And so right after the jury had spoken, the judge sitting on the case, Richard Ejefrimpong, said that, well, per the laws of this country, if you murder someone, the law should deal with you just like that. So he sentenced both of them to death. But Gifty, I want us to look at something. In this kidnap case, you have 23 witnesses, and these are evidences. Some of them were family members, some of them were things they took from the crime scenes. And there was one particular one that the judge made emphasis on today in court, a Facebook chat between Samuel Udosek Wills and the second accused. In that Facebook chat, the judge said there were some key mentioners. So one of them was issue of kidnapping, which they spelled KDP, murder, money, Malam, family of the girls calling me, and then going to NHIA for documents. So these are some of the things that the judge said the jury should make notice of. He also did mention that under several circumstances, both accused persons, that is John Uji and then Samuel Udosek, given different accounts, had mentioned one way or the other. First of all, he said Uji had said that he does not have a direct trace to the kidnapping, but Udosek does. In another development too, Samuel Udosek will said that Uji had connection with the kidnapping of Priscilla Blessing Beintum. So these were some of the facts that came out in court today. But when we finished with the sentence being given, immediately these 2 were drove out of the court premises by the security personnel who brought them. I had the opportunity to speak to the family members. 2 of the family members, that is the Beintums and the Anzakovna, said they were not satisfied. They think it's just a way to end court proceedings, and then they feel that there is more to it than we have seen. Though there has been sentence, they are still not satisfied. Let's take a listen to some of them.
I expect that these two guys will be convicted and sentenced so that they can be eliminated from society, so that such heinous crimes will no more continue to happen. This is my expectation, but I know the court thrives on law, so whatever the verdict will be based on.
Well, that was actually a conversation that Ina had earlier ahead of the verdict. But Ina, we'll bring that the conversation you had with them afterwards much later in a subsequent bulletin, so that's okay. But you can go through. You've already told us that some of them accept, some of them still think that their children are alive. But how was it today in court in terms of the reactions, the demeanor by these two suspects, well, who have now been convicted?
Well, Gifty, unlike other days when they come and you see that they are full of themselves, they are confident, today they look very calm.
Ina, have I lost you?
Could hardly see them move. So when we finished the court proceedings, but there was tension in the morning. There was tension, even though a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of residents in Takrady, they could not join their families there, but the few of them who were there, there was tension and the police presence and all that. So for the two, I can say that their demeanor was very calm compared to the previous days. And then Gifty, Wednesday and Thursday, we went to court for the oral address, and their lawyers refused to appear. And so these people from Wednesday have been very calm through the proceedings.
Well, very interesting times there. We look forward to the reaction from the Takrady people and themselves, who had staged several protests, several campaigns on the back of this. Have any of the leaders of these campaigns, etc., been talking after this?
Sure. So we spoke to the conveyor of the Concerned Mothers Association, Josephine Amu, who said she was satisfied with the sentence, given the evidence that she had seen with the 23 witnesses who came to court, the videos they showed through these proceedings, and then the sentence being given. But her only disappointment had got to do with when they, as Concerned Mothers Association, had demanded that Udotech had made an allegation earlier that he was led to leave the Takrady police office by a police officer, and they had demanded to see this police officer, and that demand was never granted. That is where her disappointment come in. But on the whole, she is satisfied with the sentence today.
Ina, thank you very much. If we need, we will come back to you for more details. But let me get on the on another conversation, still on Zoom. Adam Bona is a security analyst who has been following this story from day one. Adam Bona, thank you very much for your patience. It's good to have you this afternoon. Hello, Mr. Bona, do you hear me?
Yeah, thank you for having me, Gift. Yeah.
Great, great. So your initial thoughts?
Well, mixed feelings. It's a sad, thing that happened, shouldn't have happened. I would say that they've been sentenced after wasting the young ladies. But anyone who understands the way these things work, one can probably put across and say that usually for kidnapping cases, or usually it's not kidnapping until, the report says so or there's an arrest. Usually, once your family would go to a police station and report that you are missing. And internationally, 9 out of 10 missing persons report that are made to various police stations or facilities, 9 out of 10 are usually a hoax. And if you have noticed most of the reported missing persons cases that have happened after this one, apart from the Canadian girls, and I think one other. Most of them have been hoaxed. Recently, 3 girls or so from a school, their families they themselves reported themselves kidnapped, and the police followed up and got them arrested. It's a sad news, I would say, mixed feelings, sentenced to death, and anyone who knows the way these things work, once you are, prosecuted with, murder, the charges includes murder and is upheld, the law says you should be sentenced to death. And so even though for a very long time, the head of state or the president who is supposed to sign the death warrant, none of them, right from President Kufuor to date, none of them have signed the death warrant. It means that these people are going to be in prison custody. I am not a supporter of the death sentence. And so they are going to be in prison custody for the rest of their lives. Some people were sentenced to death. Eventually, they were freed, depending on how they behaved in prison. So I would say it's a very sad news. But have we learned lessons? I think lessons are what we should be looking at. And so all the officers involved, right from Apietu, Mami Atiwa, Opombuenu, and most importantly, Dr. Afrifa, who was involved in doing the police forensic analysis of the bones that were collected. He presented a solid, evidence in court that led to probably the sentencing of this, call them suspect, now, convicts to death. So I would say very sad, mixed feelings. We could have done better. I hope we've learned lessons out of this gift.
Okay, hang on for me. Let me bring in a lawyer, Samuel Agboche, who is from the national campaign. He's a national campaign coordinator for Amnesty International. You do know that Amnesty International, like you, does not believe in the death sentence. And I wanted to bring him in. I don't have him. I don't seem to have him at the moment. But Adam, when you talk about the lessons, do you want to highlight some of the key areas that we should have learned from? A lot of people, including yourself at the beginning of this, had said that the time frame within which the matter occurred and when it was reported had a lot of impact on the ability of the law enforcement agencies to apprehend these people, and even perhaps the girls could have been alive at the time. What are the lessons you see from your end?
Correct. If you look at it, lessons learned means that every missing person reported at any police facility must be taken seriously. It must be taken seriously. If it's a hoax, those who are involved in it should be arrested and punished. And so I believe that the advocacy has worked. And it is a reason why the Canadian girls were found within 72 hours or so. Subsequently, right from Mamea to, what's the name, CID, the current CID boss, Kenny Abua.
Yeah.
Every case that has been reported of someone missing, they have been able to locate the person. But I am still at loss with the fact that police officers have found, have to go to court usually to get a warrant before they could, get the telecos to release information about cell site and movement of, people who might be of interest to them in terms of when missing persons are reported to them, with the use of technology. Where you are talking to me now, the phone I'm using, the telephony I'm using, if it's MTN, Vodafone, or Airtel, Tigo, they should be able to know where exactly, approximately where I am. But the law says you have to go to court to get a warrant. I know subsequently the police had some friendly arrangement with the telecos, where the telecos, once it has to do with missing persons, they've come in to support the police to do that. But it needs amendment of our laws so that, in other jurisdiction, a police at a certain rank, let's say chief superintendent or maybe superintendent or DSP, should be able to go to a judge's home to get a warrant signed, send a warrant to a telecom company and tell them, I have a warrant, I need to be able to get the location of this person. We still don't have that. And to me, that has also culminated in sometimes the delay in the work, the work the police does when it comes to being able to apprehend these people, investigating these people, and catching them before, this whole thing turns into something else. Condolences to the families of, the missing this dead, girls. I would say that it shouldn't have happened. It's happened. But one of the key lessons I would say is the speedy way involved in getting every case that someone is missing investigated, and if it's a hoax, even that person is arrested. The other thing has to do with probably the police's own now beefing up its own in terms of systems. At least I'm privy to they putting their systems in place. Their DNA lab is now one of the best in the sub-region, ensuring that they are able to use it to crack some of these cases. And also training officers. I know after this case became a nationwide concern, they trained officers with regards to being able to spot a missing persons case or a case that could end up haunting them. And so these are some of the lessons, and maybe the young people who got lost and those who have witnessed what has happened have also learned some lessons. So Gifty, I would say that by and large, we've got to put this case behind us and forge ahead and continue to let the young people in this country, especially the girls, let them know that don't begin to talk to people you don't know. Be careful visiting them, know who they are. These are some of the things the young, girls especially, and even boys, in this day and age of, a lot of things happen in technology. We need to, whilst educating the girls, also educate the boys, because then if you look at it, what I've picked up, they might have been killed for something else. Those who believe in rituals, so let's be very careful. The way we let our young ones out there, sometimes they go 2-3 days and we don't seem to bother because they can leave home and come back in a week. And if you are a parent and you allow your kids to do this, then you should know you have, one day such a thing could happen to you, Gifty.
Okay, let me bring in, I think I have Samuel Agboche, who is with the Amnesty International. Ms. Agboche, thank you very much for your time. Good afternoon. Ms. Agboche, can you hear me? Hello? Okay, it looks like I'm not being successful on this attempt as well. We'll try and reach him out on the phone. But Adam Bona, before you go, our reporter is telling us that some of the family members are still not satisfied with what has happened. Is there a way you reckon we can reach out to them?
I think I know when Mami Atiwa used to be the CRD boss. I'm not too sure. I haven't followed that aspect today. I know they put some clinical psychologists, at their disposal because they need a lot of counseling. Yes, this scientifically, this is a reality. But for them, they say they wouldn't want to accept that this is a reality based on communication that has taken place in the past. So, Gifty, I would say that the families who are still in disbelief of what has happened need a lot of counseling. The police and the state would have to counsel them. But whilst doing that, let's probably ensure that if there are ways and means to probably do this, let's do it in a way that it will be done a bit away from the media, because I know there's been some banter where, the police is talking on the state is dealing with it, and the family members are also speaking to the media. Once the families and the state or the police are able to come together in trying to let them understand that, science has proven that the bones they found are that of your girls, then we forge ahead and say that it shouldn't happen again. But even if it does, it shouldn't take the dimension it's taken. And I'm hoping that these young men who have been prosecuted, others who would want to go into that trade, would learn lessons from it and not go out there trying to kidnap others and use them for ritual purposes. Gift.
Adam Bona, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Adam Bona is a security analyst. He has been following the story about the kidnapped girls from day one. And now he gives us his thoughts on the back of it. He believes that he says he has mixed reactions essentially, but he believes that it's about time that we invested a lot more into training and getting to learn the lessons that this comes with. He also believes that, like the Amnesty International, the death sentence really isn't the way to go. What it means, by the way, is that they'll be in custody for the rest of their lives. Let's get on to Mr. Agboche, who is with the Amnesty International. They have been on a campaign against death sentence. Mr. Agboche, can you hear me now?
Sure.
All right. I believe you do hear me now. Thank you very much. Amnesty International has been following this story quite closely, hasn't it?
Yes, of course. We've been following the case, and as we call for justice for the victims, we believe that justice has been delivered according to the laws of Ghana. And yes, that's where we are now.
Okay. But then there's a part of this justice that has been delivered that doesn't necessarily sit well within the principles of Amnesty International.
Yes, of course. We believe that the continual use of the death penalty is not the way to go. We believe that there's no justice system in the world that is 100% proof. We believe that there could be new evidence that will come up tomorrow that probably could point to the fact that these people were not the one who committed the crime. They could be exonerated tomorrow by fresh evidence and so on and so forth. And that is why we believe that sentencing the people to life imprisonment or a fixed term of imprisonment is the way to go. So that in case we got the trial wrong, in case we got the prosecution wrong, we wouldn't regret our action of killing these people as the court has pronounced. So we believe that sentencing them to life imprisonment or a fixed term in prison is the way to go.
That doesn't really seem to be much cause for alarm, because even if you look at our history, the last time that any president actually signed for the death penalty to take effect was several years back, somewhere I think in the early 90s. So really there isn't much to worry about, is there?
Well, for now, we would say there's not much to be worried about, but Gifty, you agree with me that we don't know who is coming tomorrow, and the person will be legally right to use the law to kill these people. Because it only takes the president to sign for these people to be executed. And the president will be right, because that is what the law sees. In any case, if we haven't used it, we have not killed anybody or executed anybody since 1993. Why are we still keeping it in our booths? Because if we are not using it, it means that we have agreed that the use of it is outmoded, it outlived its usefulness. The whole world is moving towards abolishing the death penalty because it has not served its purpose. Crime is still ongoing, even though some countries are killing people or executing people based on the death penalty. There's no evidence to say that countries that have abolished the death penalty have their crime rate increased or decreased. There's no such data. So if Ghana, for this number of years, haven't used it, it means that we have come to agree that the use of it is outmoded, and we are not interested in killing people. We are much more interested in keeping people on life imprisonment or on a fixed term imprisonment so that they can reform.
Okay.
You know, when you know that there's a time that you can be granted amnesty, there's this hope, the right to hope. So you are likely to reform your life. But if you are condemned completely on death, it means that there's no hope for you. There's nothing to look out for in future.
Right. I get that. I get that point. But before you go, these people are being convicted of killing 4 girls, 4 lives that they've taken away. What do you reckon would have been the worst of punishment, or the appropriate, if you like, punishment for such a crime?
No, of course, everybody should pay for actions and inaction. Of course, the law says that if you commit a crime, you pay the penalty or live by the consequences of it. So therefore, for now, that is what the law says, that they are sentenced to death. But we're saying that the highest form of punishment for such crime, like murder, should be life imprisonment or a fixed term imprisonment, but not to take the person's life again. We know that this is very painful to the family.
Yeah.
This is very painful to the family. But in most cases, even if you ask the family, what do you think should be the punishment for such people, they will tell you they wish that these people can come to them and say that, oh, we are sorry, or they will have the opportunity to interact with these people and ask them, why did you do that? Why did you do it? Now they will share with the victims or the family why they did it and why there is a need for them to ask for forgiveness, so that these people will reform and repent. And these people will also be resource persons to other people who are nursing similar crimes, that, look, I did it, I did not benefit from it, and I regret it. But when we kill them, like we've made no use of them in any other way.
Right. They have 30 days to appeal. This will be my final question. They have 30 days to appeal. Is it the assumption that Amnesty International might be helping in terms of seeking the life imprisonment rather than the death sentence?
No, for now, that is the law we have in our books until.
No, I'm asking whether it's something that Amnesty International is willing to do to help them with the appeal, so it gets to life imprisonment rather than death sentence.
No, of course, if it is their right to file an appeal, if it is the case that they will need the help of Amnesty International, why not? We will be more than willing to assist them. Even those who are already on death row, any of them that is willing to file for an appeal, for a second look at their current cases, why not? Amnesty will be prepared to assist in that regard.
Samuel, thank you so much. Samuel Agboche, there is a national coordinator, Amnesty International, helping us with their thought. Well, about 2 or 3 years ago, we all went on this campaign. Today, or you could say justice has been delivered. But like Adam Bona said, it's a lot of mixed feelings that these girls could have been saved. But as we know now, they're no more. Although some of their family members do not accept it, they're no more. And those responsible for their deaths have been sentenced to life, have been sentenced to death, I beg your pardon. You're still watching The Pulse with me, Gifty and Up here. We'll take a very quick break. When we return, we'll talk a bit more about road safety. You heard, this month, quite a number of people were lost in accidents. We'll talk a bit more about that, some new directives that have come in, and we'll also bring you fallout from the election petition. Do stay with us. We'll be right back. Yeah, welcome back to the show. Many thanks for staying with us. We'll also be going subsequently to Parliament. Very interesting things happening there. But right now, the governing New Patriotic Party says former President John Mahama's election petition cannot be basis for the electoral reform. The party insists the NDC presidential candidate failed to establish wrongdoing on the part of the Electoral Commission. The Supreme Court dismissed the election petition yesterday in a unanimous decision, saying it lacked merit. Few hours after the judgment, former President Mahama said he disagreed with the judgment and took on the Electoral Commission, accusing it of bias and demanding immediate reforms. We'll hear from Mr. Mahama shortly. Here is a wrap of events.
The reaction of lawyers for President Akufo-Addo shortly after the Supreme Court, in a unanimous decision, ruled in their favor, dismissing the petition filed by John Mahama. The Apex Court, in its decision, read by Chief Justice Kwesi Yeboah, analyzed the evidence and concluded that two of the witnesses, the evidence were not relevant to the determination of the issues, and so also proceeded to state that the evidence provided by the petitioner failed to prove that none of the candidates who contested the 2020 polls won the election.
The right to vote is at the core of our democratic dispensation, a principle I've affirmed in this opinion with reference to the Tenadi and Ahma Okansi line of cases. End of quote. Conclusion. We conclude this judgment by emphasizing that the petitioner did not demonstrate in any way how the alleged errors and unilateral corrections made by the first respondent affected the validity of the declaration made by the chairperson of the first respondent on the 9th December 2020, as already stated in this judgment. The petitioner has not produced any evidence to rebut the presumption created by the publication of CI 135, for which his action must fail. We have therefore no reason to order a rerun as prayed by the petitioner as in relief F. We accordingly dismiss the petition as having no merit.
Of 7 justices of the Supreme Court. And I want to say, for the purposes of emphasis, that no matter the sartorial elegance or glamorously attired and adorned, a provocative misrepresentation of the correct legal position is the naked truth. And I repeat, the naked truth shall always prevail, as loudly pronounced by the highest court of the land. Need I say, the battle is still the Lord's. Thank you.
Amen. So that is the end by way of the election petition filed by the NDC's John Dramani Mahama. It remains to be seen whether a review will be filed or not. Reporting for JoyNews from the Supreme Court, my name is Joseph Akable.
Well, you'll hear from Mr. Mahama when he called for the reforms now.
My brothers and sisters, we cannot forget that it is time we all come together to confront those who seek to destroy the very democratic system that brought them into office. It is our patriotic duty to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, it bears reiterating that our grievances with the conduct of the 2020 elections was not limited to just the presidential elections. Doubts about the Commission's commitment to fairness and transparency have lingered much longer than the duration of this petition. The doubts have attended their every action, and rightly so, because of their posturing and sometimes duplicitous conduct. As I've alluded to in the past, the current leadership of the Commission was installed after the politically motivated removal of the previous Commission. Since then, every step they have taken has appeared to be calculated at ensuring the retention of the appointing authority in power. Aside from the compilation of a new register in the midst of a pandemic, one that many civil society organizations, political and governance experts insist was more procurement-minded than needs-based, the time-tested process of consultation and dialogue among stakeholders through the Inter-Party Advisory Committee was supplanted by unilateralism. This has not boded well for harmonious relationship with stakeholders. Compared to the 2 previous leaderships of the Commission, what we have now does not meet even the minimum requirement of neutrality and non-partisanship. And these are 2 essential principles for consolidating our democracy. Today, the much touted independence of our Electoral Commission exists only in name. This should give all Ghanaians cause for worry. Today, we still have, as a member of the Commission, somebody who publicly stated that the political party which I led into the December 2020 elections is an existential threat to Ghana's democracy. And yet this same commission member presided over an election in which a party he claimed is an existential threat to Ghana's democracy participated. In the parliamentary elections, clearly NDC won the majority of seats. However, through devious manipulations and connivance by officials of the Electoral Commission, a number of these seats were illegally declared for the MPP. In some instances, the manipulation was so glaring and brazen that a simple intervention by the leadership of the Electoral Commission, as has been done by previous commissioners, could have addressed the issues and righted the wrongs in order to make court actions completely unnecessary. Therefore, it is not surprising that international election observers who attended on the last election identified collation and tallying of results as one of the challenges of our 2020 election.
Well, the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Nana Obri-Boahen, is telling JoyNews the content of the former president's petition could not have been basis for reforms.
You see, generally, every human institution needs reforms, but certainly not because the President Mahama has lost the case, and therefore is calling for reforms, and then we must hearken to his prayer. No. See, I heard him yesterday complaining that the EC officials ought to have mounted the boss. I mean, that is a sentiment coming from somebody, with due respect, who seems to me that he has no knowledge of the law. Commonsensically, he, the petitioner, never mounted the boss. He, the petitioner, never filed a witness statement. He, the petitioner, never filed a power of attorney. So you've not met the criteria which you warrant the EC and another to enter the boss. If he wants to blame, he must blame himself.
But in the interest of peace and in the interest of working together going forward, the Electoral Commission is supposed to be a neutral arbiter in all of this and ensuring that the various political parties work together, willing to support a call for the Electoral Commission, possibly call a meeting, look at the judgment of the court and see how best it can work together with the two parties.
No. You went to court and your case was hopelessly prosecuted. And are you saying that because your case was hopelessly prosecuted and poorly handled and poorly conducted, just because of that, there need to be reforms? I beg to differ.
But they raise issues with the conduct of the last elections. Don't you think that these matters must be addressed, even though the court did not make any pronouncements on these going forward?
No, but is it because Mahama has lost in the court, his petition has been dismissed, and therefore there should be APAC meeting? No, not at all.
You don't find reform necessary in this instance?
No, I'm saying that generally, human beings, we need reforms in our life.
Nana Obri-Boahen there speaking to my colleague Elton Brobe. Now, the Supreme Court in its judgment in the 2013 election provided a roadmap that led to electoral reforms before the 2016 general elections. The Institute of Economic Affairs, led by lecturer at the University of Ghana Political Science Department, Professor Ransford Jampo, led that team that came up with a reform, and with the exception of holding elections in November instead of December, the EC accepted and implemented all. Professor Jampo has this to say.
We clearly, however, lost the opportunity to benefit from pronouncements from the court that, in my view, would give the marching orders and legitimacy for efforts to be undertaken by the Electoral Commission towards electoral reforms for the purposes of fine-tuning the processes. Clearly, it was shown that the Electoral Commission never exhausted avenues to resolve minor disputes or minor issues with stakeholders before releasing results. It also came to light that there were serious trust, or there will be serious trust deficits between the Electoral Commission and the NDC if you look at the account that was given by Pesa White that they were asked to go report something to President Mahama, and the moment they left, the results got declared. It raises trust issues. It was also clear that the Electoral Commission was so much in a hurry to release results in a manner that plagued the process with mistakes in results declaration. It also came to light that the vote collation process was also problematic. It was also clear that there was contention as to what constitutes Form 13. So my view is that even though these were not directly the issue before the court could have been a bit more daring to veer into pronouncements about these challenges and to urge the Electoral Commission to deal with them. So the point is, are we going to go into the next elections with these challenges unattended to? The Electoral Commission, in my view, cannot initiate moves to deal with the challenges if it does not first admit them. Even if it admits them, how does it convince the NDC to be part of discussion towards reform when it refused to respond to them at their courts?
So who should lead the process now that the NDC, through the former President John Mahama, yesterday after the judgment made it clear that they see the Electoral Commission as a very biased entity, and indeed, in his own words, immediate reforms reflecting the long-standing image and reputation of our Electoral Commission as one of the finest and most credible on the continent, and indeed the world, must be one of the focuses of public advocacy if future elections are to be devoid of needless tensions and anxiety. The MPP says that the election petition cannot be the basis for reforms. As we look into 2024, who should lead it and how should it be done?
Well, ideally, as it occurred, I was a member of the Electoral Reforms Committee.
Absolutely.
That was set up in 2013 by the Electoral Commission itself, following the 2012 election petition. And in that work that we did, it was the Electoral Commission itself that wrote to civil society organizations and all other stakeholders to submit proposals for electoral reform. And subsequently, the Commission set up the Electoral Reforms Committee that had membership from all political parties and civil society organizations, academia, that sat to look at proposals for electoral reform. So at that time, it was the Electoral Commission that initiated the process. But now it's a bit difficult because the point is the Electoral Commission itself accepting that there were challenges. If it's accepting that there were challenges, why did they not speak to some of these challenges or admit some of these challenges at the courts? And so it's going to be a bit problematic, but I don't think all is lost. There are things that there are moves that the Electoral Commission can initiate behind the scenes to reach out to the NDC. If these moves fail, I think other credible bodies may be appealed to intervene, so that at the end of the day, there will be work. The stakeholders will work together to ensure that the challenges are addressed.
Well, those are that's a conversation between my colleague Elton Brobe and Professor Jampo. I want to take you to Parliament right now. My colleague Kwesi Parker Wilson is standing by for us over there. Hello, Parker. Hello, Parker. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Gilsey, I can hear you. The better again, I can hear you.
Well, Parker, we understand that the Speaker of Parliament today suspended sitting over the absence of some NDC MPs in the chamber. Tell us what's happening.
All right, so Parliament had advertised the starting of today's business at 11 a.m. I got here around 10 a.m. waiting for members of the House to convene so that they can go ahead with the business. Then we report. And already yesterday, I had picked up information that the minority was going to address the media over some of the allegations raised by the National Communications Officer of the NDC, Sambi Jensi, amongst other bribery allegations, particularly how the MPs even voted in favor of the three nominees who some NDC members were having issues with. I'm talking about Kojo Ponkoma, Howard Komsin, and Ousefiye Akoto. So around 12:01, we're still not hearing anything. And just around the time, I realized that most of the minority MPs who were around had moved out of the chamber. So shortly after that, the Speaker walked into the chamber where we had a number of the majority MPs ready for today's business, but then there were no minority MPs. So when the majority leader rose to commence the business of the day, the first thing he said was that he's not seeing his colleagues on the other side in the House. They've not reached out to him. He's also decided to reach out to them. Their phones are off, including the leadership of the minority. And he hasn't received any official communication as to why they are not in the House. So he asked the Speaker, what then should be the way forward? Should we proceed or wait for the arrival of the NDC MPs before we commence the business of the day? Just as they were deliberating over the matter, the Deputy Minority Whip, Ibrahim Ahmed, MP for Banda, walked in and said that, well, he's been sent by the leadership of the NDC caucus to inform the House that they are in a meeting currently, reason they are not in the House. And the explanation he gave was that, well, Parliament had advertised 11 a.m., so they have scheduled a meeting at 2, anticipating that when they start at 11 a.m., probably by 1:30, they should end the business of the day because there's not much to do today, so they can go into the meeting at 2. And since Parliament was delaying the start of the House, they then decided to go ahead with their meeting. So he asked for about 10 to 15 minutes because he said they were almost concluding the meeting. So the Speaker, after listening to him, granted the permission that, okay, fine, I'm going to suspend the House for 15 minutes. Inform your colleagues that we are waiting for them. Let them finish and join us in the chamber for us to start. We waited for the 15-minute GFT. The NDC MPs were still not in the chamber. The Speaker walked in, asked why they, well, no response was given. So he then asked the majority leader, Osei Chairman Sabon, to quickly proceed with the business of the day. So that is what happened a few minutes ago. But as I speak to you, the NDC MPs are done with their meeting and they are in the chamber now and are contributing to the business statement for next week.
Okay. And the business statement for next week includes the presentation of the budget?
The presentation of the State of the Nation address and also the presentation of the budget. Now, the majority leader, when he was informing the House about activities for next week, indicated that it appears Parliament of late 6 in the afternoon. Earlier, they had advertised that the President was going to be in the House at 11 a.m. To present the State of the Nation to members of Parliament. But the President has indicated that he has some other engagements in the morning, and so he has shifted the time to 2 p.m. And so he will be in the House at 2 p.m. to present the State of the Nation address to members of Parliament. So he has stated that until any changes are made, they have to stick with the 2 p.m. time. That is when the President will be in the House. But the time for the budget presentation still remains. Some of the minority MPs have raised concerns about the timing because they say that, well, after the budget presentation, they have to travel for post-budget conference and return on Monday, the stress they are going to go through. So they are asking the majority leader to probably review the arrangement so that they will give the MP some time for them to rest, so that they have the opportunity to prepare themselves fully for the budget presentation on Friday.
Those updates there will be on standby for any further development. Kwesi Pakawos, there we also understand that later today, President Akufo-Addo is expected to swear in the ministers who have been approved. We'll bring you updates on that. But right now, let's talk about something very important. The surging road accidents, that continues to be a source of worry for the nation. And as the nation continues to work at solutions, the National Road Safety Authority has recently issued some 5 directives to commercial passenger transport operators who are providing intercity services. According to the National Road Safety Authority, these directives are aimed at improving the quality of service and reducing road traffic crashes, as well as other attendant issues. So what are these directives and how are the promulgation of the laws going to be so we can deal with the carnage on our roads? For more of this, I am joined in the studio to have a quick conversation with Daniel Waku, who is a Deputy Director of Programs with the National Road Safety Authority. Mr. Waku, thank you very much for your time. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Okay, so let's help us with a summary of these directives. 5 of them you've indicated.
Okay, let me put the whole thing in some context.
Help us.
We have identified that there is some upsurge of crashes going around the country. So that we identified a problem. In January alone, we have lost more than 80 people. In fact, 86 people through road traffic crashes. And so we have been conducting some investigations into some of these crashes.
Okay.
And we have noted that a number of these crashes involve high occupancy buses. High occupancy buses. So out of the investigations, we have realized that we had enforcement challenges.
Mm-hmm.
We have environmental challenges. We have institutional and systemic challenges or failures. And then individual challenges or driver challenges that came out of this investigation.
Okay.
Now, the National Road Safety Authority, as the body responsible for the coordination and the development and then regulation of road transport or road traffic or road safety issues in this country, decided to attack these challenges. In fact, we all remember that the Minister of Transport, even last year and even the year before, have been having consultations with the transport operators. And he has even issued some directives. So some of these directives that we have come out with now are part of what the Minister
of Road and Transport put together. Let me just indicate that we also have Godfred Abodere, who is the General Secretary of the GPRTU, Ghana Private Road Transport Union, also on Zoom, joining us in this conversation. Mr. Godfred, good afternoon. Thank you for your time. Hello, Godfred, can you hear me? Okay, we'll raise him back. I just wanted you to know that he's also part of this conversation. So,
now,
yes.
Which approach did we adopt? So we adopted the approach of what? Participatory approach. So we invited the transport operators, other stakeholders to a meeting. Let's discuss the issue so that we can get a consensus. It's very important to build a consensus in the approach, in the intervention.
So these directives, what exactly are they supposed to do that's different from what they were doing before?
That's what I said, that we have challenges. For example, enforcement challenges, the institutional challenges.
Yeah, and based on that, you are asking them to do something.
Yes.
What are these things that you're asking them to do now?
Through out of our investigation, we realized that driver fatigue was one of them. Driver fatigue was one of the challenges that was causing a number of these crashes. High speeds was one of them. Poor perception and management of hazards by drivers. We also identified that a lot of drivers were doing wrongful overtakings. Now, there are responsibility on car owners or even institution of bus operators, for example, to ensure that a bus traveling from here to Woku should have 2 drivers.
So that's one of the directives.
That's one.
That a bus going along journey must have 2 drivers.
Yes.
Isn't that something that's already been practiced?
So out of the investigations that we have done, we have come up with this directive to address the findings that we have.
Yes, and I'm saying that
from the investigation.
I'm saying that with the
first directive, for example, it has to do with what? Regulation 118. And the regulation 118 in the LI 2180 states that a driver must not drive for continuously 4 hours without resting. So if you drive for 4 hours, you must take a rest, at least 30 minutes before you continue. Now, if you are driving from here to Tamale, it's more than 4 hours. So if you don't want to rest, what do? You take an additional driver.
So my question was that, is that something that we're already not doing?
They were not doing it. Some have been doing it. Some of the transport operators have been doing it. I don't really want to mention names, but...
That's okay. So now, is there a way to enforce this? Because one of the key problems is enforcement. So it can be a directive.
Yes, that's why I said the approach we adopted was participatory. They came. We all agreed that this is the way forward.
Okay.
So we have to do this.
Okay.
So for example...
Let me just jump in there and bring in Mr. Abodere again, who is joining us now on phone. Mr. Abodere, can you hear me? Okay, thank you very much for your time. So I'm just talking to the National Road Safety Authority, and they're talking about participatory approach to dealing with the problems that we have on the road. Have your people received these directives?
Yes, we were represented at a meeting, so we have it.
All right. Okay. So, Mr. Wako, I want you to finish with me so that I come to him about implementation.
All right. The second directive, for example, is the continuous professional development of the driver. Drivers, according to the law, Regulation 125, drivers are supposed to go through professional training, refresher training every year, so that they can get abreast with the use of the roads in a more safer way. The third directive is to enforce the use of logbooks. It's also in the law, Regulation 118. The logbook, for example, addresses the speed at which the vehicle moves. It also addresses the resting time of the driver, if the driver rests. So if you take off from Accra at 6 a.m. and you arrive in Kumasi at 10 a.m., the logbook will tell you that the speed at which you move was inappropriate.
I see.
Yes.
Interesting.
So the logbook is there to address the speeding of the vehicles.
Okay.
Because we have realized that high speed was one of the causes of the crashes. Then the next directive is the fourth one, is pre-departure checks. Now, it is very, very important that before a vehicle takes off, we ensure that the vehicle is in good condition. Now, we have had an agreement with the transport operators, for example, to identify road safety officers at the lorry station so that we train them, so that before the buses move, we don't have to, but they themselves will ensure that these buses that are going to move people from Accra to wherever they are going, or from Kumasi to wherever they are going, they are in good standing before they move out.
Let's stay with the fifth one, then I go to the GPRT.
Yes, and the last one is enforcement of the regulation of it's required that the operators with vehicles of gross weight over 5 tons, they are fitted with retro-reflective tapes.
What is that, sorry?
These are yellow tapes that we fix on buses or vehicles above the tons of 5 tons.
Okay.
Now, the use of the retro-reflective tape is this. In the night, it reflects so that it makes visibility of buses more easy. So that when the vehicle, for example, is broken down on the way and there is a retro-reflective tape behind the vehicle, if an approaching vehicle throws light on it, it shows that there is something
before they get close to it. Okay. GPRT, let me bring you in. It's very nice to have something like this on paper and then we know what it is. We've had a lot of that already. How is the GPRT looking to implement this at your local levels? Hello, Ms. Abodere?
Yes.
Yes. I'm asking about implementation of these directives. What plans have you put in place to implement these directives?
Well, good evening for having me. And let me just say that we were represented at a meeting, but we also have some concerns which we intend to put them up to the National Road Safety.
Okay.
Looking at all the things they have itemized for the implementation, they are all not new. There are already existing laws which were there, but they were challenged by implementation. So now that Road Safety wants to implement them, the first thing is that they would have a stakeholder meeting with GPRTU that has the largest driver sector in the country.
But that's what they've done, isn't it?
There is no. That's not it. I said we're given only one
representation.
Member
Okay, so you want the Road Safety Authority to now meet with the bigger group?
Exactly.
Okay.
That was what should have even been done before the third meeting.
Okay, and then what? What again? So that we can take a response from Mr. Waku here.
Good. Apart from that, the rest of the things are issues. I think there are regulations which are even already there, and some drivers are on it, and some are not. Myself, I have my bus, which I have 2 drivers inside. So they are not new, as well. But the timelines given for the implementation is what I think we GPR2 are going to write our opinion to the road safety for them to reconsider.
The timelines you're talking about, let me just ask, so you have an issue with you want them to first of all meet with a bigger group, that's number one. Secondly, yes, you also have concerns with the timelines that they've given. What is this timeline and why do you have a problem with it?
Yeah, the first thing is that they are mentioning 1st of April. 1st
of April?
Yes, the first one said they were 1st April, they will implement the first one. Mm-hmm. Which is the issue about the two drivers in every long-term ban.
Yeah, that's more than a month.
Come again?
That's more. That means they're giving you more than a month to plan.
Yes.
That's okay, isn't it?
Yes, that's why we said we will need to meet and then write some concerns to road safety.
Okay. All
for
right.
them to relook at it.
To deal with it.
If we also have certain issues, we can even help in these directives.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Because I've actually run out of time, so I'm just going to leave the conversation here. Mr. Waku, I want you to respond to some of the concerns that he has raised. I think they like the idea, but I think they have some concerns about the time
I'm very
frame.
happy even to hear that they like the idea. In fact, the body language even at the meeting was that it was a good thing that we wanted.
Yes, yes, but then they want you to help them to help you.
As I said earlier, this is not the very first time that we have brought this thing up. The minister himself called meetings.
But then this is the time you're looking to implement it by bringing these people in, which is great.
That is why we did not just sit in our office and
send it out, which is great. But now they are saying that if you could expand the engagement.
This is a good sign that is coming from them. Okay. These are areas that we have or we can even exploit.
Right.
If that is, if they are, in fact, it's not that if they are the bigger size.
Okay.
So we can still continue with this, engage them, and then ensure that all these things are put in place and enforced, because it goes to help the Ghanaian. It goes to help everybody.
Okay.
It doesn't affect you, it affects the family member. So
I think that this is a conversation we can have again, maybe after you have had your second meeting. Mr. Abodere, I don't know if you have any final words to put on this because of my time. Do you want a final word on this? 30 seconds. Can you do that for me?
Yes, I think the key word is just that our members, whichever way they implement it, at the tail end, we will be the beneficiary of all whatever is being stated as issues to implement.
Okay.
And you heard me say earlier that they are not new. All of them, they are not new. It only lacks the enforcement aspect of it. And I think for now, when they engage us to a meeting, we'll even suggest even better ideas to add in terms of implementation. So I think basically our request about our engagement with GPR2 in order for us to get more meaningful ideas to implement them.
Mr. Abodere, thank you very much for your time. I'm looking forward to having this conversation with you again after you've had your meeting with the GPR, with the Road Safety Authority. Mr. Waku, how soon will you be meeting them?
Oh, we give them 1 month to start this implementation.
But they want to talk about it.
Oh, we will. Therefore, we have to ensure that we meet this
within the 1 month.
Within the 1 month, and make sure that we stick to the timeline, because it's very, very important. We have already put in place monitoring mechanisms to ensure that these things are being observed. If they are not being observed, there are sanctions that will come up with it. That follow.
Okay. Do you have any final words as well for you? 30 seconds.
Yes. Road safety affects everybody, and we must all take it seriously. And I'm happy that the GPR2 and other transport unions have come up and are ready to support the actions of the National Road Safety Authority and the Ministry of Transport in addressing the road safety issues. Finally, COVID is real. Let's observe the protocols.
Sorry, COVID is real. Sorry, I'm just choking out on my words now. COVID is real. Let's observe the protocols. I've been having this conversation, very important conversation, by the way. We just try to squeeze it a bit more in the time, but we're looking forward to having this conversation again. Daniel Waku is Deputy Director of Programs for the National Road Safety Authority. Godfred Abodere is the General Secretary for the GPR2. They're talking about meeting again and fine-tuning some of the things before the directives come into force, and we'll bring you that conversation when we do. Thank you very much for coming once again. But like I said, from COVID-19 to the reactions to the election petitions. We'll just take a few thoughts from our correspondent across the country before we wrap up on the show today. I'm going to start, we're focusing a lot more on the northern part of Ghana today. I'm going to start with Isaac Nonya, who is joining me via Zoom. Hello, Isaac.
Hi, Gifty.
Isaac, let's begin with the highlights for your region this week.
Yes, here in the capital of Damago, we decided to get the views of residents who mostly followed or monitored the election petition in court for the 3 months. Yesterday, we met some elderly people who tried to give me reactions following the verdicts of the Supreme Court. According to some of them I spoke to, they said based on the shutdown of the 7/5 Supreme Court judges, justices, they knew that at the end of the day, the petitioner was not going to see the day of the light. And through to that suspicion, it came to light. Some also believe that having studied the terrain, it appears what was given, the testimony that was given by the General Secretary of NDC, Mr. Asedi Ketia, who happened to be one of the witnesses, it appears that the petitioner agents who were supposed to be at the strong room of the EC didn't do that work very well. And they are also appealing that if they could do anything at all, it should be that the next election and future election, they should make sure that right from the police stations up to the EC strong room, all the agents should be trained and be put at the very place they're supposed to be. They also disagree with the fact that the two agents, Mr. Kwesa White and that of Mr. Metonunu, Major Metonunu, left the strong room to go and see the petitioner. And they believe that if they have stayed put, what has happened in Supreme Court would have happened. There would have been the need to go to the Supreme Court. Some also think that the hearing and the verdict was fair. Right from the beginning to the end, all parties in court were given fair hearing, just that some were being a bit careless, where others used the legal tactics to overpower them. They were referring to the first and second responders, whom they claimed they were able to use some legal tactics to overpower that of the petitioners, the council. And they believe that if they allow things to go this way, it might not be good for subsequent legal cases where people will be the petitioners or plaintiff who may doubt that the accusers may also use similar tactics to overpower them. So in all, those of them who think that the president has a case, the petitioner has a case, they appeal to him to let him go because the Supreme Court judges, they know better. Okay. And having ruled against him, he should prepare himself for the 2024 where his luck may shine.
Isaac, thank you very much. So that's a Savannah region. Let's head to the northern region. Martina Bugri is joining me for that. Martina, what has been the highlight of, news highlight in your region? I'm assuming that COVID definitely played a role.
Yes, COVID played a role, but generally the tension that characterized the 2012 petition was not...
the 2021 petition, you mean?
Second, the 2012.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
Yes, was not seen in these petitions. People went about their duties as if there was nothing at stake. Just few officers you entered and people were watching the television. Most people I spoke to said they were not even interested in what was going to come out because they believe that if they plan towards the next election, it will help the party better than wasting their time going through these processes. It depends on which party supporter you speak to. If you spoke to the NPP, they believe that they had a strong case, and so at the end of it, they needed to win. But if you spoke to the NDC, they had a different view. They believe that, well, it happened in 2012, it's happening in these elections, and so what they need to do is just work and be sure that they win hands down so that you don't even need to go to court. Those are some of the views that people shared with me in Tamale.
Regarding COVID, is there anything you can report for the vaccination and all?
The northern region is yet to receive any vaccines. We are told that for now, they do not even know whether the next consignment, the region will be passed. But if the situation changes, there are more infections, there's a possibility that they could bring in some. But until something changes dramatically, the region is not part of what's going to happen in the next consignment.
We'll see how it goes in the next week. Martina, thank you so much for your time. Anas Savit is correspondent in the Bono East region, Albert Sori as well in the Upper East region, joining us, both of them. Anas, let me start with you. What have been the highlights for the region this week?
Briefly, we looked at health in the region this week. The region is here to receive its COVID vaccines, though. But what the traditional authorities are doing in the region is to sensitize the public. So the president of the Regional House of Chiefs is leading the Nanano of the region to hold sensitization programs to ensure that the people of the region embrace the vaccine when it gets here. That is one. Secondly, the region held its maiden annual review meeting. You know, this is a new region, and so for the first time, the annual review meeting was held, and the Directorate is worried about the lack of specialists in some parts of the region, coupled with the lack of structures in these areas. Some 4 districts in the region are currently without district hospitals, and we have some 2 districts with no health centers at all. This, according to the Regional Health Directorate, is not helping in the fight against COVID and other health-related issues. And the final one I want to speak about is the Regional Immigration Office arresting some 80 suspected Togolese nationals who were here to be transported to other parts of the country and then to Côte d'Ivoire. So the Immigration Command intercepted them and ensured that they will be repatriated. The agent who is leading the connection is currently in the grips of the police, assisting with investigation. So these are the 3 major things I followed within the week.
Well, Nas, thank you very much for that update from your part. Albert, let me end with you. Are you there?
Yes.
Right, Albert, take it away.
Yes, so with regards to COVID-19, I was just trying to get information on what the latest in terms of cases have been. I haven't been able to reach the Regional Health Director, who I've been told is the person who should speak to it. But we do know that since the last time we gave an update, there's been a steady decline in terms of the number of active cases. Also, we do not know for now when the people of the Upper East region will take their turn in terms of getting the vaccine. But the Health Directorate is planning to do some education in terms of talking to the people at the local level, especially at rural communities, to help demystify, the beliefs as far as conspiracy theories are concerned. They've been trying to educate people across the country to take the vaccine. So it's one of the things they are doing in the Upper East region as we prepare for that time to come when people in this part of the country can also take the vaccine as well. But if you remember last year, we told the story of Matilda Agamu, who faced stigma. She was the first COVID-19 patient. So as part of the JoyNews campaign that are ongoing, educating people to wear face masks and
Unfortunately, it looks like I've lost Albert there, but very good information Albert has given us about the region which has yet to receive any COVID-19 vaccines. That's it for from our correspondent. Gary L. Smith, I beg your pardon, is standing by to bring us sports on the pause. I beg your pardon, he'll be right here.
Many thanks to the birthday girl giftee for bringing us this far. She'll be back to wrap up. Time now for the sport. I'm Gary L. Smith. Today, Women in Sport Network Ghana, in collaboration with the Women's Communication Unit of the Ghana Olympic Committee, will hold a day seminar on March the 8th, which, as you may know, is the International Women's Day, and it will be one of the activities to mark it. Joining us is Filipina Frimpong, who doubles as the Executive Director for Women in Sports Network Ghana, called WISNET for short, and also a member of the Confederation of Africa Tennis. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Gary.
Yeah, can you tell us more about Women in Sport Network Ghana and what you've been doing all these years?
Yes, we have decided to concentrate on capacity building of women in sports. There are so many aspects to the industry that a lot of industry players are doing their best. To mention Juliet Baywa, Mrs. Gloria Commodore. At WISNET, we want to focus on education and sports, or education with sports. So for about 5 years now, we've been running the girls' camp every year, taking young girls between the ages of 6 to 16 on educational tours to places in Ghana where women are in high positions and exposing them to these women, trying to build role models for them. Because we've realized that if a girl can see a woman in a position, she can always aspire to get to that side. So for about 5 years, that is what we have been concentrating on. This year, however, we've decided that we want to bring it home a little bit. Now, there's so many girls who are athletes. They participate in sports for leisure, PE, and even hoping to become. Jumia Tech Week is back. And everybody knows that sexual harassment and sexual abuse seems to be on the rise, especially during this COVID period. Now, these girls are young. They don't know a lot about these things. So we've decided that we will bring them along with coaches and grown-up women into a room, have an expert take us through it, help them to be able to identify the danger signals and know what to do whenever anything inappropriate ever happens. So on 8th March, that is what WISNET and Women's Commission of GOC are doing.
When exactly will this be? And is it open to the general public in any way?
We would open it to the general public on Zoom or Facebook Live. You know, COVID issues.
Sure.
And sports is one area where we've been told to observe the protocols. And we want to make sure that we do, because whatever we do, these young ones are looking at up to us. So we need to set good examples for them. So we've limited the number to 35 to congregate in the media center of the Accra Sports Stadium. But we'll be holding it on Facebook Live so that any other woman who wishes to join can join in. And one of the keynote speakers, Dr. Mirabel Aboa, she's outside the country, so she would even join and give her talk on Zoom. So we will share the Zoom link. We will do Facebook Live, and we'll encourage as many women and even men, especially parents, to join us, listen to what is being said so that they can also advise their children appropriately. Luckily for us, we have a counseling psychologist who works with Shraj, Mrs. Paulina Issel. She's going to take us through the how to spot it and how to report it. And the Women's Commission of GOC, led by Madam Elizabeth King, has put some structures in place to assist any woman in sports who feels they are in danger or they are being treated inappropriately with regards to sexual approaches, to be able to report to the Commission for assistance in seeking redress. So she will also be there to talk about that. And through that, we'll be able to educate not just the young ladies, but the general public as well, of what we are doing in sports to ensure that we create safe space for our young athletes and also our elite athletes.
All right. Thank you very much, Filipina. It's a pleasure. And we look forward to this event as well. Thank you for your time. Filipina Frimpong is Executive Director of Wisnet Ghana. We'll be looking forward to that event on March the 8th, which is International Women's Day. I'm Gary Al Smith, and that is the sport.
Well, that's it for this hour. There's more news at myjoyonline.com if you do log on. But this video is also on demand on our YouTube channel. My name is Gifty Ando Apia, and I leave you with Let's Talk Showbiz. Many thanks for your time the whole week. Let's do this again next week, and have yourself a great weekend. There, it's always a pleasure to come your way with your favorite celebrities here on this show. And well, today I'm also excited because it's not just your favorite, but my favorite as well. I'm hanging out with Kelvin Boy. Now, if you recall, last year, Kelvin Boy actually released his maiden album. And well, there's been some mixed reactions here and there. He's doing his own thing. We are enjoying the music. Some also have their own perceptions about the album, but he's the right one to actually talk more on the album. This and many more here on the show. So if you are ready, I'm ready. He's already seated. So let's go straight to Kelvin Boy. Hello.
Hello.
Should I say Happy New Year?
Oh, you
because I haven't seen you this whole year.
Oh, but yeah, okay.
I haven't seen you this whole year.
That's for me and you.
Yes,
yeah. Because we are in March already.
You're in March already. Well, that's true. But I've seen maybe one or two posts. You seem to have taken it cool a bit on social media. Am I
yes.
right? Is there a particular reason?
Oh, yes, of course. Because I came to realize that there's more to life. There's more to what we're doing than just the fans and just the hype, and you understand. So I just take it easy. If you know how to do it, you don't rush it. You get me? Yeah. And then when you talk about Kelvin Boy, you know Kelvin Boy is in his lane. He's not like this, or he's not like, you understand? No competition, nobody. His lane, he's the master. So that's what I want to be. Yeah.
So should I say more time for family as well?
Yeah, of course, because when there's no happiness in the house, what's going to motivate you?
Exactly.
You understand? So that's it, yeah. But the music there, we still give them back to back. You know, the videos are top notch. Like we spend a lot on my videos. Still, Corona, still no shows, but still, yeah.
Corona. I mean, I was gonna get back to that. I mean, you released your album last year, and I know that you were looking forward to do a lot of it, go on tour, you know, to other parts of the country, and probably even out of the country. How did that affect you?
Yes, Corona actually has affected everyone, I mean, and everything, like in general. But after the album, I thought things were gonna open, because things seemed like it was balancing a bit. So not knowing we were gonna go back to the same thing. So yeah, but you know, music is music. Yeah, we still listen to music when we are sad, when we are indoors, when we are prisoners listen to music still. You get me? So I felt like, yo, this is music. Let's just put it out there. Let's just shoot the videos. We don't have to wait for shows, wait for money, wait for movement before. Let's just put it out there. You understand? Because you guys are there, and then when we send you, you guys play it. You understand? So we appreciate all the support, and that's the only way that we were still relevant in the Corona times. Because if you had to move and go give your video to someone to play, or if you had to like move a foot before something will happen, you understand? So yeah, music is music.
I'm really excited about it. Now I have actually, you know, seen the album cover, I've seen bits and pieces of what actually inspired the title of your album.
Okay, the title I put the songs together already, and I've been saying this. Some of the songs were like 2 years old before it got like
on the album.
Because you can record some songs and go like, no, this song is a very big song. Let me hold it and get the right feature or the right time.
Yeah.
This is an album song. So I was putting the songs together for like right after my Time EP. I was putting the album together. So after that, I was looking for a name, and I was like, this is my first
album
body of work.
Okay.
My first album. And I'm the guy that represent Afrobeat. I'm the guy that talk about Afrobeat that get fight all the time. I'm the guy that speak about Afrobeat and get bullied, get insulted all the time. Okay, let's represent this and let them know that for the first time it's coming from Ghana. So what title or what name that when someone sees or reads, he doesn't have to like go back and forth. You understand? So when you hear Black Star, Ghana comes in mind first.
Exactly.
Like you don't have to go back and forth. You get me? So that was why I chose Black Star. And you know Blacks and Stars.
Oh, of course. Hey, even Ghana, in fact, we are shining.
Yeah, right. Ghana is the island of Africa now. Everybody wants to come here.
They have to come.
Of course.
You guys need to come. But how is the promotion going so far? How are people receiving the album?
Actually, all the platforms, when you go, as I'm talking, you can go check AudioMark, Spotify, and everything. You see the views, the streams very high, and it's been released like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
It's getting to 3 months, so it's amazing. It's amazing, and the videos are doing well. You know, some of the songs were released before the album launch and the album release, and it was big songs already, like Momo and Martha, and you get me, so big songs still.
Before I came here, I just needed to, do a little research to find out what, and I'm sure, of course, you always have a way of, handling your things. Now, what would you say about the fact that people are saying that maybe the album failed to get the recognition it needed? So it's not like it's not out there in the faces of people and all of that.
Okay, who said that?
It's public perception.
That people saying that they know about the album.
Yeah, they like, you wanted a certain kind of attention. You
what
want people
attention
to,
that they think,
of course.
Okay, all right.
Everything about the album. When you
attention I needed. Everyone needs more than what they get.
Yeah.
You get me? But you understand. So, but you appreciate what you have and what you get. That's it. Because there are a lot of people that see your post and doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Or doesn't comment. Doesn't mean they've not seen it.
Exactly.
So do your best. Do it right. You understand?
So for you, it's not about.
The last time I checked, when you mentioned Kelvin Boy, hey, India is Star Be International. Hey, no be here. Hey, India in Team Be proper. Hey. But maybe I say you see, so that level that you have put in me in your mind, and that's where I want to be. You understand? It's not about just the hype and the noise. Yeah, GB, like it doesn't bring money.
Yeah.
You get me? So it's the link ups. When you see me, I link up with this guy Crayon.
Okay.
From Maven's Record. He's with Rema and stuff. I link up with BOJ. BOJ is with the video Bernabo and stuff. Yeah, so I feel like let's link up with like our colleagues. Exactly. Yeah, man. But let's start it from that level. You can't start it from here. There's Chatawali and Stoneboy and Sarkodie. They are there.
They are there. So
you understand? Yeah, and we know black people, no matter what these do, the fact that this one is there already.
Discuss.
Yes. So you have to accept it and know your level and you do it right. See, it's time. It's time. So you just do it right. The fact that those people talking about the album that it didn't get there, the fact that they know about the album,
then you're good about it. All right, so let me ask this. One way or the other, before the whole album, you were on a back and forth social media. Do you feel that maybe you're back and forth with your former colleague, which is Stoneboy Record Label, do you feel that maybe it also affected the way people think about you or how they receive your music?
Affected maybe think about me, but affected my music. When that thing happened is when I blew up, is when I got money, is when I saw money, is when people wanted to see me. When that thing happened till now, that made me Kelvin Boy. Haven't you realized?
Yeah, I'm realizing that. So you think that it affected you positively?
Yeah, but maybe in their minds is what, because people always get the wrong perception of people. Keep that perception. I'm cool.
You're cool. So you're not worried about the fact that people go like, oh, maybe Kelvin
the artists worry about what people are going to do and what people are going to say. People are going to think a lot, and it weighs us down. Every day they compare the Nigerian artists to us. But you see, when you watch their character and all, we are even good.
Sure.
But you see, the Nigerians don't go for the character, they go for the music. You get me? So no matter what, maybe this person have decided to paint me black? or white. That's what he has decided to do. Yes, you understand. So I can't change it. If you come and say, oh, it was white, it's like you are lying or you are trying to
add or subtract something.
Just keep that.
So you're not
music.
You're not bothered about it at all.
As far as I see money and my music goes, and I know I see improvement in my life, I'm just cool.
You're just cool.
Yeah, I won't let that weigh me. I've seen a lot of artists being weighed down by that.
Wow, that's interesting. I mean, that's interesting. Now, I'm going to ask this before we move on to something else. How's your relationship like with Stonebwoy at the moment?
The status is not really necessary, I think, now, because if I love Stonebwoy, it should still be in my heart. If he loves me still, it should be in his heart still. What you come and say is like, oh boy, I'm back. Say it's that, it's not that. So I rather let it stay in my heart. That's why I cleared the tattoo.
Okay.
I don't talk about it, but because you asked, and these days I'm very like honest and real. Like it comes real. Yeah. That's why I cleared it. I prefer it staying in my heart.
Yeah. How you feel about him?
Because it doesn't really matter now.
How you feel about him? It's in your heart.
Because also we don't
okay.
Say you love him, they said that's not the truth.
Yeah. So whatever you do, we take it in a different way. All right, now let's come to production of music. For some time now, some producers have come out and they are complaining about the fact that artists do not pay, or they don't even pay them at all, or they pay less when it comes to music productions. We've heard artists and some music producers complain here and there. They've actually even had some arguments here and there. What do you make of it? Is that the case? You're a musician, you've worked with music producers. When you go, do they charge you? When they charge you, do you pay instantly? Is it based on friendship? Is it that, oh, when I blow, the album blow, then Chala will come sort you out?
Okay, first of all, you know, this music thing is big. And now the business aspect of it is like getting noticed by us, by Ghanaians. We are now getting organically. See, years back, and then this how. Now there is PRS that you have to register, and you, the producer, artist name PRS, my sign a split sheet. The streams, you get your own as a producer. You have to air calling. So if also a producer when he take part when he for year than to complain that this gave me money, because for a relationship and it's not about money. And every artist had nothing before. I mean,
they became who
they are. You understand? So me and Samson is my brother. He played Osimia. That's my biggest. That was my biggest song.
That's my favorite song.
Now people think that other song that is my biggest song, though. But yeah. So Samson, I had nothing that time. He also had nothing that time. He came. He used to come to the house and we record. When he is ready to go, like, oh son, I don't have anything on this 200 Ghana or this 300. So super here sometimes, so super most you understand? And we go. When the song blew, people got to know about Samson, and then he takes money from other people too.
Okay.
You understand? When he mixes my songs, I pay him. When I don't have, he understands. So it's the relationship. Now is the PRS era and then the streaming era. So we just have to sit down and do things right. It's not about this one gave me money. Oh, Sako they gave me Momo, so Kweku Flex should give me Momo.
Okay, I get it. So maybe it
you should see the difference.
Okay.
You understand? So
maybe they should stop. So the producers should stop complaining
and do things right. At least now, I say, oh, my split sheet me, my register PRS until they took online now. If you put in the song online, add my name, my account, everything, my money will come to me. When it's 1 CD, you see it's 1 CD, when it's 2 CDs. Like, you understand?
I get it.
Yes.
I get it. Well, I guess when they do the right things, as you said,
yeah, man,
things will always be the right way. Where's your label mate, Ovi? What's up with her? Have you seen her lately?
It's been a long time I saw Ovi. The last time I saw Ovi, she came to Black City's place. It's like a month ago. Yeah, and then we were talking about a new song, and you know, you think after the back and forth with everything, yeah, you know, he's a female, and then when she's a little bit soft, and that, you understand. So things weigh her. You understand? So yeah, that was the reason why people were not understanding me at that point, because that was the point. It's either that or that. So you decide.